Hello, good morning and welcome to this special interactive session with distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, Commander Order of the Niger, the Senate Minority Leader of the 8th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course, the immediate past Executive Governor of Akpabio State. Remember, this program is for the love of Nigeria. I am your host, Godwin Akpan. It has been in the news, Akpabio State has been in the news for several months now, but this is not unusual, as for several years, this state has continually been a focal point given the level of rapid development witnessed from 2007 to date. Senator Godswill Akpabio, nicknamed the icon from Common Transformer, piloted the affairs of Akpabio State for 8 years and turned the state into a destination for many, both within the country and outside Nigeria. Now, on May 29, 2015, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio took a bow, exiting office as Executive Governor of the state, and heeded to the call of his people, the people of Ikot Senatorial District, to represent them at the Senate. Senator Godswill Akpabio made history by becoming a first-timer in the Senate to be so elected the Senate Minority Leader, following his outstanding and stupendous track record as Governor of his state, and of course his overall contribution to the nation's stability and growth as the chairman, People's Democratic Party's Governors Forum. Several political development has occurred between the period he left office as the governor of the state and today. Some of his giant strides are still stand tall and are being made references to. What are his thoughts on the political happenings in the state? What kind of Akpabio State does Senator Godswill Akpabio desire? What legacies would he like to be remembered for? How enduring are some of his projects? These and many more questions we will seek answers to from the Senate Minority Leader here on the platform for the love of Nigeria. Distinguished Senator, you are most welcome to the show for the love of Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
We are very pleased to have you once again on this platform for the love of Nigeria.
Thank you.
Now, for you out there, our esteemed listeners, at the appropriate time, we will be given an opportunity to call in and lend your voice on the issue discussed with Senator Godswill Akpabio. Now, Senator, tell us, how has it been in the Senate, talking about the activities of the National Assembly?
Well, thank you for having me for the love of Nigeria. First, I must congratulate Atlantic FM for this program. And I think it's very important that we know that what can keep Nigeria together is love. And of course, from the north, the west, the south, the east, wherever you come from, once you can exhibit love, it means the country will be together. It means that kidnapping will come to an end. It means Boko Haram will come to an end. It means a lot of the vices we are suffering today will come to an end. Even corruption will be not only eliminated, but totally out of place in the polity of Nigeria. So I welcome this program, and I thank you for initiating it. And of course, I want to thank the management of Atlantic FM, even though I'm not in the state, but I hear the ripples of what they are doing, informing the people on a daily basis, and people are quite happy with your station. And I drop my hat to the management for the contribution so far. In the National Assembly, since I entered, things have not been the same. People still refer to me as the uncommon senator, coming from the uncommon state that perform uncommon transformation. And of course, they refer to the people of Akpabio State as uncommon people. And I see a lot of excitement, on the faces of Nigerians across board, especially Akpabio children. When they see me in the lobby of the National Assembly, they want to identify, they want to let me know that they are from Akpabio State, and they keep saying, "Sir, thank you for what you and your administration did during your 8 years tenure as governor. Thank you, may God bless you." It's on a daily basis. In fact, I just couldn't believe it. I was at the airport at Arik yesterday when a young boy rushed to me and said, "Sir, you sent me to study aeronautical engineering. Now I have a fantastic job with Lufthansa Techniques, and they are paying me very well. You paid my school fees, sir. Thank you." And I can remember, these are things that we did, just in passing as part of the call to duty. And of course, you can imagine over 500 people on a daily basis across Nigeria who are saying thank you to Governor Godswill Akpabio when he was governor, now senator, either for sending them to India for one medical ailment or the other, whether they were police officers, whether they were, ordinary Nigerians, but particularly because they were resident in Akwa Ibom State. There was no limit to the extent that we extended the love of Akwa Ibom to Nigerians and to ourselves. So it's been wonderful in the Senate. From the lobby of the Senate all the way to my office and through to the red chambers, it's been wonderful. And most importantly, I want to thank my colleagues, the distinguished senators of the PDP and now other political parties for giving me the opportunity to be their leader. This one was also another uncommon surprise.
Absolutely.
It's not been easy for somebody who is a first-timer in the Senate to be so recognized, because what it means is that as a minority leader, you have the majority leader, and then you have the Senate President, Deputy Senate President, and you have other principal officers. So you are not many out of 109 senators for you to be called amongst the eight, to be amongst the leaders of the Senate. Within 2 weeks of entering the National Assembly, within 2 weeks of being in the Senate, I think it's a wonderful thing for Akwa Ibom. And this has been my dream all along. I now walk around, and even when I drive on the streets of Abuja, and I see children selling newspapers, I will stop and I'll call them and I'll say, Abadie, and then they will say, sir, I don't understand. I say, okay, this is what I wanted. That was why we initiated free and compulsory education, so that our children can go to school. I'm not saying selling newspaper is a bad thing, but it shouldn't be limited to only one state, Akwa Ibom State. And so now it is no longer, Akwan, bring me newspaper. Oh, Ekaite, bring me water. Oh, where is that and that? So it's such a pleasing thing for me. And then, of course, our contributions in the red chambers have been noted, and some have applauded, and some have asked me, how come you are blending so easily? I said, because of what? Humility. Because whenever God gives you an opportunity to serve, you must serve with humility. You cannot go there with a chip on your shoulder and say, I'm a former governor. You must take your colleagues as your colleagues. Whether they are first timers, whether it's their first time or being elected, whatever it is, they are your colleagues. And so the issue of being governor had been put, behind me. And now I'm a senator, and my colleagues relate very well with me. And that was why they found it very easy to make me the minority leader and the leader of the 49 senators that came into the chambers of the National Assembly out of 109.
Now, Senator, still staying with you on the issue of the Senate, there have been several talking points in the Senate, especially with the issue of the over-bloated budget by senators and, of course, the missing budget. Can you play the air on this?
Well, the issue of there is no issue about over-bloated budget. I think the budget is a budget. A budget is nothing but an estimate. So if you know the Nigeria with a population of 170 million, you will agree with me that even a budget of 6 trillion is small. It should actually be over 10 trillion. But you have to do your estimate based on your income or your projected income. And so the projection for this year, 2006, from sources, happened to be 6 trillion. So it's not over bloated. And as I speak now, I believe strongly that we are having meeting with various agencies, MDAs and all that, ministers and all that. We've invited the CBN governor, the Minister of Finance and all, Minister of Budget and all relevant bodies to come and then explain to us how we are going to fund the aspect of the budget that has to do with borrowing, because almost 50% of it is predicated on borrowing. And if, for instance, the borrowing houses refuse to give you the money, it means that the budget fails immediately. So Absolutely. We want to be certainly sure that, yes, before we pass the budget, that yes, indeed, that the borrowing plans are in place and that the borrowing agencies are ready to afford Nigeria the opportunity. Then I must say that the issue of budget, missing budget is no longer news. What happened was that one of the aides to Mr. President took the budget through unconventional means, and then of course what was returned to us was tampered with. But Mr. President has since sent a letter dissociating himself from it and explaining that the senators should go back to the original budgets that he presented before the floor. And so what we are looking at now is the original budget that was dropped in the Senate by Mr. President, and not the one that was brought back after the the tampering. So I think that issue has now been put behind us. And when there was a glamour for even for sanction by senators, they said, "Oh, we can't work with this officer who could do this kind of thing." And I realized that officer comes from Akwa Ibom. Said, I insisted. I said, "No, we can't move a motion asking for the withdrawal or redeployment of this officer." Because he could, through that motion.
Now the officer, you were talking about the officer that presented.
That came with Mr. President.
A doctored budget.
Yes, okay. I said I don't want anything to happen to such an officer. Because,
and you intervened.
Yeah, because he's a son of Akwa Ibom State.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, because if I don't do that, they could replace him with somebody from Borno State, somebody from Kwara State and all that. And jobs are difficult to come by now. And so anywhere that an Akwa Ibom child can get employed, I must support such employment. And so that was my thinking, and I hope Akwa Ibom people will understand.
And I think I think this aid must be very, very grateful to you.
It doesn't need to be grateful to me. I'm doing my duty as a senator of Akwa Ibom State. I don't see myself as a senator of just Ikot Senatorial District. I mean, if you have had the opportunity of serving the 5 million people of Akwa Ibom State, wherever you go to this life, you must continue to serve them. You don't give a damn where somebody comes from, because God entrusted them into your hands. So that senator also happened to be senator, and therefore it was my responsibility at that time to intervene to save the situation. And I assure you that situation has been put to rest.
Remember, we have been speaking with the distinguished senator of the Federal Republic, the Senate Minority Leader of the 8th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We're talking about the immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, CON. Now, Senator, you will agree with me that there have been little or no federal presence in Akwa Ibom State, despite having our sons and daughters representing the state at the center. Remember, we had at the time the Secretary to the Federation of the Government, and of course ministers. We also had legislators, at various times. And now, what are you people, the present legislator, doing, to attract federal presence to Akwa Ibom State?
Well, we are cooperating with His Excellency Governor Udom Gabriel Emmanuel. But by the way, I must congratulate the Governor Udom Gabriel Emmanuel for the victory at the Supreme Court. He is now a judicially confirmed governor of the state.
We are coming to that.
I know, so I must say that. And so he is very focused on development. Our job is to ensure that if we have agencies that are interested in investing in the state, we must encourage them to talk to the governor and, of course, come down to the state. But in terms of federal presence, we are going to do our best. Okay. And, during my tenure, I tried everything possible to make sure that the federal government looked at this side. But it was almost impossible. But somehow they were able to give us a federal polytechnic. And then just before I left office, I was able to track to the state maritime university at Oron, even though I heard stories when I left that some opposition elements within Oron Nation, who call themselves elders who do not think of the future, led a delegation to Abuja and said they don't want the university in Oron. And I'm still baffled. So I understand that on their intervention, that they don't want a university in Oron, that maritime university was suspended. So the takeoff was suspended, and that for me is extremely unfortunate, because my vision when I established the Akwa Ibom State University, the State University in 2010, was to have 2 campuses. One was to be at Oron, and another one was to be at Obiokpa. And I said, no, since we already have the Maritime Academy in Oron, we can turn it into a maritime university, and then, of course, we diversify the courses there so that it could, go technologically based. So there may not be any need to have 2 universities in Oron, and that was why I said, okay, let's start the Obiokpa campus while I pursue the issue of turning the Maritime Academy into a university. And to the glory of God, I succeeded in doing that with letters in my hand, working with the then Minister Agono Yagaye, before I left office. So when I heard that the elders of our nation worked with the late rector, may so rest in peace, Mr. Okpo, to go and insist that they want to do only OND courses and technical courses so that they don't stop getting international aid. Nothing will stop you. Any university can combine technical courses also with degrees, because even some polytechnics offer HND, offer OND, and also offer bachelors in technology. So I don't think that it would have been out of place for the Maritime Academy in Oron to also offer the other courses in addition to being a degree awarding institution. So I think that issue must be revisited. So we are going to work hard together to see how we can bring federal presence to Akwa Ibom State, which have been lacking for a while. Many years ago, there was the aluminium smelter company, the aluminium smelter company of Nigeria that was cited at the Korabasi by the federal government. But I don't think since then we have had any federal presence, except police and army. So yeah, that's why I said we must do everything this time. And unfortunately, even when as a state we assisted them to do over 200 kilometers of federal roads, like the Timegbo 56-kilometer road with a bridge, like even the Oron road is part of the federal road, the one that goes to the airport, and then of course even the road that we did towards Abak, and then of course the one that goes towards Itu, the dualized road with the bridge is part of the federal road, and then of course the one that we are doing now, we had approval also that there will be a refund on the one we are doing towards Ikotebere. In fact, we ought to take it either towards Aba or as close to Aba as possible, because I thought if we can collaborate with the government of Abia State, we can actually take it to Aba. And if we cannot, then we stop at Ikoromo instead. And so that when you are coming into Akwa Ibom State, all the approaches are dualized. And part of my vision was that after the Abak Bridge, by the left-hand side, as you are going towards Muparenin, to the east-west road, the next administration will dualize it. So I do know that if finances are good, the current administration will do so. So that when you are coming into Akwa Ibom, no matter where you're coming from, whether you are coming from Omahia, whether you are coming from Port Harcourt, anywhere, whether you are coming from Oron, whether you are coming from Calabar, you suddenly come across this dualized thoroughfare without a single pothole, and your tires are making noise, with a small song. Tires sing songs, but you wouldn't know, because of potholes. Yes, just something like that. So beautiful. So, and then you say, "Where am I?" Then somebody will tell you, "You have reached Akwa Ibom State." I didn't want anything to announce that you are in Akwa Ibom State except the good roads. The good roads. Except the good roads, the lack of potholes.
That is coming from the distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio. Remember, the program is still for the love of Nigeria. Now, still staying with you on the issue of the federal president, you talked about the Federal Polytechnic in Okana.
Yes. Yes.
Now, when will this polytechnic take off?
I'll find out from the rector, because I'm a senator now, so I'll find out from the rector and the Minister of Education.
Now coming to the state front. Now, 2 days ago, the Supreme Court, sitting in Abuja, upheld the election of the executive governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, after the election petition tribunal and, of course, the appeal court had nullified election in this in Akwa Ibom State. How would you describe this victory, especially for your party, the PDP?
Well, I think it's something that was expected. For me, I wasn't worried about whether nullification or otherwise. I was more worried about the propaganda that was going on. Because if you notice, even within this Atlantic FM, persons after persons came, and then through all sorts of propaganda and all that, the people of Akwa Ibom said did not just wake up overnight to elect Udom Gabriel Emmanuel. There was serious consultation. I made sure that I went round the state, I went round the 10 federal constituencies of Akwa Ibom State, and I consulted with the people in their thousands. And then, of course, the 10 federal constituencies, the preponderance of opinion was that the next governor should come from Eke Senatorial District. And that is where Udom Gabriel Emmanuel comes from. And, of course, that is the only senatorial district that was yet to produce a governor for the state since creation. People don't know this in Abuja. The APC candidate, of course, my good friend, and my brother, comes from Uyo Senatorial District. One has to wait for his turn. And I believe strongly that God's time is the best. So you cannot on your own, no matter how big you are, struggle against God's time. It wasn't the time of Uyo Senatorial District. Absolutely. And the good people of Uyo spoke so when I met with them in Etinan that it wasn't their turn. that this was the turn of Eket Senatorial District. So the issue of the election nullification or otherwise was political. That's the way I saw it. I saw those things. I believe strongly that the judgments by man cannot stand, that the judgment of God stands. And so when the Supreme Court rose to the occasion and then restored the confidence of Nigerians, in the judiciary, I was very excited. I was very happy, and I gave glory to God. And of course, I extended immediately my appreciation to Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, for not interfering in the judiciary. Because one thing that can allow democracy to thrive is the independence of the judiciary, the independence of the National Assembly. When the three arms of government are allowed to operate independently, it means that democracy will thrive. But when there is undue interference, of course, you know what that means. That means we'll be sliding towards dictatorship. So this particular decision by the Supreme Court, I applaud them and I applaud their courage, and I thank them for not only showing the independence of the judiciary, but standing by the rule of law, because there's a difference. Every government, there are many governments that are banana republics, and then they have executive, they have judiciary. Judiciary so-called. It's a National Assembly that distinguishes a normal dictatorship from democracy. And so when the judiciary is itself totally independent, it means that democracy will function. So it is the oil that turns the wheel of democracy. So I was very excited, like every other Akpabio child, because that was our decision. I was not bothered even if we were to go back for a second election, or a third election, or a fourth election, or a fifth election. The result would have been the same. Udom Gabriel Emmanuel would have still been the governor, because that was the choice of Akpabio people, and that was our decision that we should go to Eket Senatorial District. And I do know that the will of the people always, stands, and it remains the will of God.
The will of the people always remains the will of God. Those are the sterling words of distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio. Now, you talked about the issue of propaganda. It is on record that you are the most attacked governor, the most maligned governor in the history of Akwa Ibom State. Now, what is your advice to the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Gabriel Emmanuel?
Well, I want to tell him that as he proceeds to bring a lot of goodies to the state, he should also know that it comes with a price. So yes, it does, because that it should remain focused. It should not be distracted by propaganda and by abuses and all that. Reverend Emma Okpai, when the Christian Association of Nigerian President Cletus Bassett lost one of his parents, I went to the burial, and then Reverend Emma Okpai said, "Please do not be bothered about the attacks. Note that the tree that bears the best fruit and the sweetest fruit also gets the greatest amount of stones." And so that was enough for me. That yes, Jesus Christ came to redeem mankind, and what he did was something that would last for generations. When Jesus Christ came, he abolished all these blood sacrifices. You don't see those things again. People do not sacrifice their children again, and people do not make graven images and then say they are worshiping them and calling them gods and keeping them in their bedrooms. All those things passed away. Jesus came to shed his blood in order to ensure that salvation was given to mankind. But Jesus was the most attacked. He was even falsely accused. It has happened to so many great people in the world. And so any person who comes as a trailblazer and a change agent must expect to be attacked. And so in and out of office, I have seen myself unfortunately remaining the most attacked governor in Akwa Ibom State, the most maligned, and sometimes they write the kind of propaganda that will baffle you. When I was in office, I used to buy a Global Concord. I would pass on the road, and then they would write there, Governor Godswill Akpabio caught in London with $70 million.
And he just
and then, in the state, and I'm on my way to the church. And then they will say, then the Attorney General to the rescue. You understand? So, and I'll go to the church, and I will show it to the people. I said, can you imagine this? And then our people are fantastic with propaganda. And so they said, I left office, and the next thing I saw on the internet is Governor Godswill Akpabio attempts to move $7.8 billion from his account in Dubai,
wow.
CBN, through a CBN source. EFCC, federal government stops him. I don't know, or whatever, you know.
Saw the caption.
So if you look at that amount is far more than the money that I collected in 8 years as a governor in Akpabio. When you convert it into naira and kobo, because I know that in Akpabio State, in 8 years of administering the state, we did not get more than 1.6 or 1.7 trillion naira. In 8 years, in the entirety of the 8 years, about maybe 1.4 or thereabout. And the records are there in the Ministry of Finance for you to see. So a state that never received more than 1.5 trillion in 8 years, how will somebody now come and move 7 trillion, which is more than 4 trillion? And sometimes they write petition and say Akpabio made away with 4 trillion. Okay, Akpabio is 4 trillion. And yet Akpabio never received up to even 1.5 trillion. So it's an amazing state. And I don't want to plead with my people, because the people doing this thing, they see it as a job. They think they are getting money, they are being paid, and their job is to malign me, their job is to write petitions. And I can see now that Udoma has won. I can imagine the number of petitions that will emerge. For somebody to be as mad as even writing that Akpabio is going to give money to Supreme Court or something before the judgment came, it was already on the internet. And meanwhile, I never went to any Supreme Court judge's house. I don't even know any of them. And I bought the newspapers. I saw some. They said Punch online, and some of those things. You know, some of those things are. I think we need to reform the system and then try to. But you have to have a thick skin. You must have a thick skin, you know, because unfortunately some Nigerians are gullible. They actually believe it. Some people wouldn't even know what a billion dollar means. A $1 billion means 300 billion naira, not 300 naira. 300 billion. And so by the time you look at 7.something billion dollars, you are looking at 300 and maybe 10 billion naira times. Is it 7? And so I don't know. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
But this same newspaper houses gives you award on yearly basis when you were the governor.
But they did down, like in 2013 when they gave me award, all of them. I asked them, I said, but you are the ones that write that Akpabio is a murderer, Akpabio is a thief, Akpabio is this. They said they said leave that thing. We are sponsored. You know, there is no employment. You are a major source of employment for us. So I was so shocked. I said, what do you say? They said, sir, we are sponsored. Without your name sells. So whenever they come with a story about you, we publish. I said, but why don't you cross-check? It says, if we cross-check, nobody will buy it. Are we going to talk about the hospital in Itam? For instance, the brand new hospital in Itam is performing miracles. People are coming from London. People are coming from India to come and do operations here. And people are doing tummy talk. And people are pacemakers and all that, all sorts of, and we have the best equipment in the whole of Africa now. One of the equipment that we'll install there is called CT scan. The CT scan that you have in Cromwell Hospital in London is his first slide. The one in the specialist hospital in Uyo is 640. That is 10 times the magnification. And so you don't have any of such equipment in the whole of United Arab Emirates today. You don't have it in Africa, but you have it in Uyo here. So people are coming down from India, coming from Uyo, coming from London and other places, and then we have fantastic doctors. And one of the surgeons here is rated among the first 5 in the entire world. But those stories cannot be written because they said bad story sells. The story that can sell is $7.5 billion missing. Akpabio to be quizzed. Yes.
We are coming to that to the issue of the Igbo multi-specialist hospital, because there are a great deal of testimonies coming from people who are receiving a medical solution to their problems. Like, of course, people came in from Greece. A Professor Nicholas Deosis, came in from Greece to have a very major operation after 4 failed surgeries
in other countries,
all in Europe. He came to Akpabio State Igbo multi-specialist hospital to receive his medical solution. We are coming to that, but before we put that question across to you, there are rumors, especially at the national level, because of your fraternity and your romance with the opposition senators. People are bothered that, of course, you crossed over to the APC. Could you?
No, that is not on the cards. First of all, it is unconstitutional. Okay. Any senator that is elected and crosses over to the other political party loses his seat. Automatically. So I'm not in a hurry to lose my seat. That's number one. And number two, you see, people think that politics should be war. No, for me, politics should be a collaborative element for us to serve the public. So if the idea is to collaborate with the APC to ensure service delivery to Akpabio, we do so. And even as I speak now, I'm calling on all the, the top wigs of APC to come together and join hands to do the manual to move the state forward. Mm-hmm. When somebody is elected a president, and you're a president of all political parties and of the nation, when you're elected a governor, you're a governor of all. And when you are in the red chambers of the Senate, you're a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not just of the PDP or you may be of PDP extraction or APC extraction. But the issues that you raise there and the discussion should be, it should be bipartisan. It should Nigeria first. You put Nigeria first, because what are we trying to do? We are trying to leave a better Nigeria for our children. And so, if in the course of it, people think that you are very familiar with your colleagues in trying to put forward your points, in trying to get them to collaborate with your views and all that, then it doesn't mean that you are going to jump from one political party to the other. It only means that you know the need to collaborate with one another in order to move Nigeria forward. I'm determined to leave a better Nigeria for my young son.
I am determined to leave a better Nigeria for my young son. Those are the words of the distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio. And remember, the program is still for the love of Nigeria. And at this point in time, we will be going on a short break. When we return, we continue with the distinguished senator, the Senate Minority Leader.
Good to see you, Where have you been?
My brother, you mean that kid, they eat you. We are returning to our dear state, Akpabio, a land of fulfillment and destination of choice. We've been told that the price of our crude oil has fallen to its barest minimum, and our oil is not more selling. People are suffering.
There is an alternative to crude oil in Akpabio State.
And what could that be?
Arts, culture, and tourism. Look at places like Ghana, just behind us here, and Kenya and South Africa. They have developed their economies through tourism.
My brother, not true talk.
Yes,
not true talk.
Our crude oil is inexhaustible, while arts, culture, and tourism are sustainable.
This is Akpabio, the tourist destination of a rich cultural splendor. Welcome to the tourist and investors' paradise. This message is brought to you courtesy Akpabio State Ministry of Culture and Tourism.
Oga, why you throwing your dirty for ground when space still dey the receptacle?
How that one can concern you now? I been for your power to wear boots. I bet come out here, Jare. You fit even drop your own for the other side if you like.
Lie, I'm not fit. You know the correct to dump your dirty for ground when the receptacle when government provide they empty. We environment now we all know as we keep them now so it go be.
Girlie, na true talk country people. Now only we fit keep our environment clean na bad thing to throw your dirty for ground when space still dey for inside the receptacle. If you dey inside motor or you dey waka for leg, no throw dirty for ground no throw dirty inside gutter. Make sure say the gutter wey dey in front of your house, market or office, e dey clean every time. Make you put your dirty for inside small container. Pay that small chickly money when government they take pay people they carry your dirty go through away. Accept a law. Give Ministry of Environment power. Make them take arrest and carry anybody who break the law. Go mobile environmental sanitation court. So therefore,
make we join hand make Akpabio dey clean and green.
Now Ministry of Environment bring on this message.
Welcome back to the program For the Love of Nigeria on Radio Nigeria Atlantic 104.5 Uyo. And remember, this program For the Love of Nigeria is also on AKBC channel 45 Uyo every Tuesday, where various activities at the National Assembly are being showcased, and of course issues that has to do with general development in Nigeria for Nigeria. That program For the Love of Nigeria is where you can also follow up activities of the Igbo multi-specialist hospitals, where various surgeries, medical wonders, of course, are being administered by the day. Remember, we are still in the studio with the distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic, the Senate Minority Leader of the 8th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course, the immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State. Now, Senator, now that Akwa Ibom State, PDP, has assumed full authority in Akwa Ibom State, those members that defected to APC following the appeal called nullification of 31 local government area elections, are you willing to take them back?
The members that defected to APC?
To the opposition party, yes.
On account of
the nullification of elections.
Well, this what the Governor Fayose calls stomach infrastructure, or stomach infrastructure politics. I think that's what he calls it. So a lot of people thought, Udom Emmanuel was not going to make it at the Supreme Court, and so immediately the Court of Appeal said they should go back for another election. They tried to jump camp out of fear and said, with federal might, that Udom was not going to win again. And so a lot of them got prepared, and some did move. But what we are going to do now is reconciliation. We have to reconcile all the parties. I'm now an elder statesman, and what I've done is that I've already said that the party should immediately begin a process of reconciliation. We have to set up a committee to bring back those who are decamped. I'm sure many of them are willing to come back. Well, now, if you know what happened on the day the Supreme Court gave decision, there were people who were holding brooms and standing in front of Akpabio, waiting to celebrate if the election was nullified. The celebration would have been that, APC is given another chance to recontest by way of rerun. Okay. Not that anybody would have been declared winner, but you see, there is a lot of misinformation in Akwa Ibom. So they were thinking that, if the election was nullified, that means Udom is not the governor. No, Udom will still remain the candidate of the PDP. The only difference is that the Speaker of the House would have taken over, and then there would have been a rerun. And then, of course, the rerun means that Udom will still come back as governor. But I was surprised that some people were holding brooms, and they went to Akpabio to stand to wait for the Supreme Court so that they can, jubilate with broom. But immediately they heard that Udom won, they threw their brooms away. Some burned the brooms, and then they were the first to reach government house. They left Akpabio and ran to government house. Some from the plaza, some were still holding their broom when they entered government house. I'm telling you something. So that shows you that Akwa Ibom people are a very interesting group of people, because
of course they were allowed access into government.
They are Akwa Ibom children now. They were not even, for them, they are not interested in which political party is in office as far as they are concerned. All they know is PDP, and all they know is Udom Gabriel Emmanuel. So once they heard Udom Gabriel Emmanuel had won, they forgot they were holding brooms in their hands. They were jumping up and shouting, which means that if you look at it very well, that there must have been a hired crowd, and that the brooms have been given to them, and then to stand there, and if the election was nullified, or a rerun, all that, then you raise the broom and then you shout, hey, which really is not from your heart. Okay. So immediately Udom Gabriel Emmanuel was returned the governor unanimously by all the justices of the Supreme Court. The same people, some threw the brooms away, some punched the broom, some carried the brooms and ran to government house to come and congratulate Udom Gabriel Emmanuel. Unconsciously. So if you watch the video, you'll see so many brooms in government house jumping and dancing, and that shows you that it was a generally accepted decision that yes, indeed, Eke Senatorial District should have the opportunity to produce a governor, and this governor is generally accepted by all, and they're happy with his performance so far.
Now for the PDP, is there any measure on ground, to forestall a future defection in times like this?
No. You can, even if you want to put the measure in place, you cannot guarantee that people will not defect. Just like you cannot guarantee that APC members will not defect to PDP. It has come to stay in Nigerian politics that people move from one political party to the other. That's what they call political prostitution. But some of us remain constant.
Now it is on record. I think Akwa Ibom people will not be fair. Will not be fair to the Akwa Ibom people. Should I fail to mention this? And now you were spotted, at the Supreme Court few minutes before the judgment was delivered. And now a lot of people here in Akwa Ibom attribute your presence, to the victory of PDP, and some said, of course. Can you tell Akwa Ibom people?
Well, you have to understand that when I entered the Supreme Court, I did not go to where the justices were.
Okay.
I entered into the chambers of the Supreme Court. So I know what you are saying. Because when they saw me outside, immediately they saw me outside, the place went wild. Okay. There was wild ovation. They were by Taraba people, by the people of Abia, and by the people of Akwa Ibom who were outside. They saw me and they said, oh, it was like the symbol of hope. Our PDP minority leader, our leader has arrived, and they started shouting, "You are a leader, you are a leader." But before you knew it, the place went mental. So he took the intervention of the security agents in the Supreme Court to manage to usher me in, and they had to take through the back door. I managed, and then from there I emerged in the chambers. And of course, when I entered the chambers, you also saw something else.
Yes.
There was you wouldn't know who was a lawyer for APC or who was a lawyer for PDP. As far as the senior advocates of Nigeria were concerned, and all my colleagues, I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for the past 28 years or thereabout. Everybody stood up. The entirety, whether you were defending APC or PDP, the Godswill Akpabio had entered, and so they were need to shake his hand, to take pictures with him, to embrace him, and so that was the commotion you saw. It was the presence of the Akwa Ibom child. Because I'm saying that wherever we go to, we are blessed people.
Absolutely.
This is the only state that is named after God.
Absolutely.
So we've taken Akwa Ibom into Nigeria. And that's the simple truth.
And importantly, you sat with Senator Itainang when you entered the court.
And because he's a senior special assistant to the president, and I'm the minority leader of the Senate. So both of us are in government. So we had to sit down together as government officials. But did you notice when myself and Chief Sam, my former Attorney General, embraced? Oh. We embraced, and he asked me a question. He said, "Your presence here is everything all right?" So, he said, "Do I pack my things?" I said, No. I came to congratulate the Ekes Senatorial District.
Wow.
Because you are from Ekes Senatorial District, so I came to congratulate you. Then the lawyer of the APC, okay, the Chief Niyi Akintola, I think that's his name. He was so excited. He said, "You didn't come for my child's marriage. That my daughter is married decade." I said, "Really?" I didn't know. Then they have to pay in arrears. And so he embraced me, and every single person, Wale Olani Pekun, I think was he on the other side or was it for us?
The other side.
Oh, he was on the other side. He didn't know he was on the other side.
And they said that he has never lost any case.
No. You have to understand that my presence in the chambers was a big turning for all the lawyers. They were all excited that I was there, and they were very glad to see me. They said he has never lost a case?
Yeah, they said so.
So he was representing Akwa Ibom?
No, representing, of course, the opposition party in Akwa Ibom.
So that means he also won, because we won. Since he's my friend.
But he lost. He lost representing APC, the All Progressive Congress.
No. Was APC actually going there to win? Well, not in Akwa Ibom. You have to understand something. There is a difference between propaganda and reality. Okay. The case that we had before the court, forget the politically motivated judgments that you were seeing and the confusion. Even the Chief Justice of Nigeria came out and talked about the confusion in the Court of Appeal on issues that border on a single item. You had at least 6 different interpretations and judgments in the Court of Appeal. That's why I said we need reform. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on the Judiciary, and as far as I'm concerned, there's need for reform at that lower rung of the ladder in the court. So we cannot say that we perform very well, but the judiciary eventually redeemed its image through the Supreme Court, because I don't know what was happening in the Court of Appeal. It was a shock to all Nigerians, and I do know that the Supreme Court decision today has redeemed the image of the judiciary and given hope to the common man. So my presence in the court was to go down to support Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, our governor, and a performing governor at that. And so it was unfortunate that the entire Nigeria was happy that I was there. So it had nothing to do with the judgment.
Okay. Now remember, the program is still for the love of Nigeria, and it is only in For the Love of Nigeria program that you can get an interaction such as this. Now, as the governor of Akwa Ibom State, you left many legacies, and of course, one of your legacy is giving life back to families who were hitherto hopeless as a result of their medical condition. We are talking about the Ibom multi-specialist hospital. Over 10 major surgical operations have been recorded and is still counting. How does this make you feel?
Well, it is just like what happened to me. For about 2 years, I used to travel to Owerri, to Port Harcourt, and to Calabar to join a plane to go for meetings in Abuja. And I said that I must continue with the project I met on ground, which was started by my predecessor, Obong Vishota. And so I made sure that we completed the first phase of the airport. And of course, that has opened Akwa Ibom to the rest of the world. The same thing with medical. I used to receive phone calls from Akwa Ibom people between 1 and 3 a.m. And so people knew that anytime you call the governor directly, will pick. One day I picked it, and a young man called me and said, "Governor, Your Excellency, I'm dying. My 2 kidneys have failed, and I have no money for dialysis." And I said, "Okay, Tekamba will come to you with money in the morning. He will give you money for dialysis, but get ready. Do you have passport?" He said, "No." I said, "I will send Dr. Essien to you. We'll do passport. I'm sending you to India for kidney transplant." And eventually I did. And the young man comes from you. He gave testimony in church. And they replaced his kidneys. And there were so many of those cases. In fact, at the time in India, they knew my name very well, even though I've never been to India in my life. Because I knew that there was no year I did not have at least 500 Akwa Ibom children getting medical treatment in India. So I said, if I could bring India to Nigeria, and then the hospital in India here, or the hospital in Europe here, it means that we can stop these capital flights, and not just for Akwa Ibom people, but for the whole country. That was the concept of the 20th anniversary hospital. And I give glory to God that it's already beginning to bear fruit. Because now people are now coming from India to come and do operations here. Because I know that one of the cases you are referring to, when the man went to look for a particular doctor in India, they said no, that man has relocated. He's now working in Uyo, in Akwa Ibom, that surgeon. And so immediately he flew down, and the operation was performed, and it was very successful. And then there are others. The first day we opened, a man came from Enugu Teaching Hospital. He had a heart problem. By the time he was taken into our own equipment, he came out, and 2 days after, he was able to walk. They brought him in a wheelchair. So the miracles you are seeing, should gladden the hearts of all Akwa Ibom people. We'll do more, and I know that at a time, the whole of that area will turn into a medical tourism sites, and that was why I also made sure that even I built a security village with over 40 units of houses, which people are not even aware of. The governor of the state, Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, commissioned it behind Itam, behind a shelter Afrique. You go there, you'll see at least 40 duplexes with a swimming pool, everything. Security village, which I built for the expatriate population that will come here to stay. And people are not aware because it was not necessary to broadcast it. And that's where they are staying, because it would have been costly to put most of those expatriates who are going to train our people in hotels. Otherwise, every cover they make on a daily basis would have been gone through payment of hotel bills. So I'm very excited that, yes, indeed, today we have a hospital we can be proud of, just like the International Stadium. It might not work today, but you see what has happened. Since 1954, Akwa Ibom never won the FA Cup. But with the International Stadium completed in 2013, and then commissioned in 2014, and by 2016, Akwa Ibom picked the FA Cup. Within 1 year of having the best international stadium in Africa, we are now the champions. We are now the champions in Nigeria. The cup that eluded Rovers of those days, that eluded Kofine and other clubs, ATSs. But today we are now the winners. We won that cup since 1954, almost 60 years, and I'm sure more than 60 years. 65 years after. Because of what? Because of the infrastructure. So this dream was not only my dream, it was the dream of all Akwa Ibom people, that yes, indeed, we should have a hospital of this nature where the entire country will come to have succor. And I'm happy that it has come to fruition. So I give glory to God, and I thank His Excellency Udom Gabriel Emmanuel for continuing in this vision, because this is what we need. The government is a continuum. When I came in, I continued with the projects I met on ground. I did Ibom Power Plant, was on ground. They are not they installed the second turbine. I did, and of course I was able to do. I even improved upon it by making sure that we built, in partnership with the private sector, a gas processing plant to provide gas to the station, and then the Ibom Power Plant, I completed it. And then by the time I left office, we were producing 110 megawatts of electricity. And of course, also the airport project. And even this Wangeba Road that goes to Lomedian Hotel. Lomedian Hotel, people have forgotten. They had only 17 rooms downstairs that were completed. All others, they had no ceilings, nothing. They had planks all over the place. But I built it. I completed it. I made sure that I did that.
And it's functional.
And it's functional. And the airport and all that. And even the road you are seeing was not completed. The company that was handling the road was called Xerox. So when I came in the first 6 to 8 months in office, I pursued it assiduously. And you must also give me credit that I'm one person who did not forget my predecessor. I did not just do all the projects in the state and I forgot him. I gave him the best dualized road.
Absolutely.
The Akanungudo road with the best roundabout in Nigeria. And then I put the best street lights that had ever been manufactured in China. And so I also did 10.8 kilometers of underground drainage system to save the road, because that place near to Lutheran High School, Lutheran Church.
Okay.
Yes, the place is below sea level. And so it has an underground water that goes through there. So no matter how many times you did that road would have failed. And so we had to do an underground pipe jacket drainage system, 10.8 kilometers all the way from the Tropicana right down to that place. And then we destroyed two streams, 2 rivers, and did boreholes for the communities. And it is functional now. So people should go and look at some of these things. I cannot be the one to blow my trumpet. And there was no time for me to talk about the things I was doing, because there are 2 ways of ruling a people. You can rule the people through fear, and you can rule them through love.
Absolutely.
I did it through love.
Okay.
There's no way you can put the kind of money that I put on the ground and on top of the ground in Akwa Ibom said that you can see 37 brand new bridges, 5 brand new general hospitals, set of the House International Stadium, set of the House International Hospital, and with the Sheraton Hotel that you are seeing, the Hilton and all that, Tropicana, all sort of thing, brand new governor's lodge, brand new deputy governor's lodge, brand new governor's office, brand new banquet hall. Then you move around the state and see the primary schools, the secondary schools, free education with 1.9 million children. They are paying subvention and all those things. And then you still have money to go and keep in Dubai, or you have money to go and keep in India. But that's not the story for today. That I will not be the one to defend myself. I think posterity will defend me. But I thank God that today we have quality infrastructure that can support what this administration is now trying to do, which is industrialization.
Absolutely. Now, at this point in time, the phone lines will be open, so Akwa Ibom people can call in and speak with you. And the lines to call, 0808 866 4330. I call that again. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. You are on to the program For the Love of Nigeria. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Eridi. I'm calling from Ibionibo.
Edidion, you have the floor.
I'm the son of Akwa Ibom. I will say that Akwa Ibom is not belong to PDP. Akwa Ibom is not also belong to even APC. Akwa Ibom belongs to everybody, so don't want anybody to talk back to Akwa Ibom. I want all of us to join hand with Mr. President to fight with this corruption that corrupt this Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I like that contribution. Akwa Ibom doesn't belong to APC. It doesn't belong to PDP. It doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to Nigeria, and then everybody should join hands. I think the lady is echoing exactly what I said, which was why when you said, are you planning to go to APC? I said, no, it's not a function of APC. Nigeria doesn't belong to any political party. Nigeria belongs to Nigerians, and so we must join hands with the president in order to leave a better Nigeria for our children.
Okay. Hello, good morning. We missed.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, I'm Bright Okoko and I'm calling from Uyo.
Yeah, you can go ahead with your contributions.
I want to say that I'm very grateful to hear from our former governor. Hello?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Okay. I want to say that I like the way the governor speaks, and we like his programs, what he has put on ground. And we congratulate him for having won this case for Udom Emmanuel. He's a real man and a Maradona of our time.
The Maradona of our time, that is coming from you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Senator, you are described as the Maradona of our time. I think this is another title given to you.
Well, the traditional rulers have already given me Uko Kwaibom, and I thank him for saying Maradona of our time. I'm not. I remain just Senator Godswill Akpabio, your former governor, and a man who loves Akwa passionately and loves the good people of Akwa said, and I will do so forever.
Thank you very much. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Yeah, you're on to the program For the Love of Nigeria. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm Oku, and I'm calling from Uyo.
Oku, you have the floor.
Yeah, I want to thank our distinguished senator for what he has done. What I want to say is, a father knows what is good for the child. The governor knew that Udom Emmanuel would be a capable man that will be good for Akwa Ibom. He brought us. So I want to use this opportunity to congratulate him for giving us the governor. He knows will be good for us. Now we can see within the few months, Udom Emmanuel has been the governor. Despite the fact that he has been disturbed in his office for about 8 months, but he has not deterred him from doing things for Akwa Ibom. If he is now allowed to settle down, I think this man is going to do more than what he has done now. So I want to congratulate him. He will not even rule for 4 years. He will rule for 8 years. Mark my word. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sir.
Thank you so much, and I like that because some people have accused me. Oh, you brought a governor, you brought this. I did not bring Udom Emmanuel. Quite when people brought Udom Emmanuel because we had primaries and there were about 20-something aspirants, and Udom Emmanuel won squarely. And of course, yes, the only thing is that I introduced him into politics by appointing him as my secretary to government at the time I did. And I also did not want a situation where I was like an architect who laid a foundation for a skyscraper, and then you go and bring a quack, and then you will come and put a bungalow on the foundation. So I wanted a situation whereby, as a good architect, I'll bring a good and qualified, somebody that will come and build a skyscraper for Akwa Ibom State. So, and I also mentioned something else before I left office. People said, "Oh, Godswill, you've done so well." I said, "No, I don't want to be the best governor for Akwa Ibom. I want to be known as one of those who join hands to produce the best governor for Akwa Ibom State." So I thank God that you have appreciated what Udom Emmanuel is doing, and I want to urge Akwa Ibom people to be patient with him. That the economic situation now is bad. It's affecting not just Nigeria but the entire global community, and so Akwa Ibom is not left out. As soon as the economy improves, I'm sure you'll see Udom galloping in a way that you'll be amazed. Today, the oil price has reduced below $30, so that has affected the income of the state. So please, let's all be patient with him, and then pray for him and pray for the president so that things will improve, so that we can see quality delivery. But I'm sure that we made the right choice.
Now, before we take the last caller on the program, this is going to blow your mind, distinguished senator. Now, the renowned Dr. Ipin Kushin, who of course is the chief plastic surgeon of Ibom Multi-Specialist Hospital, described the hospital as a hospital with a vision 50 years ahead of today. This is absolutely mind-blowing, if you ask me.
I think the man is right, because sometimes when I come into Uyo and I drive around Uyo, I realize that the people don't even know what they have. Some of the flyovers that you see in Uyo, some people think that, oh, you ought not to have flyovers in Uyo, you ought not to have this kind of international stadium and all that. But you'll be shocked that this is a vision of the future. You'll be shocked that Uyo is going to be at El Dorado. You'll be shocked what this town will turn into. You'll be shocked what Akwa Ibom will become. So that is why that man is right in saying that this is a vision that is 50 years ahead of his time. And if you go to Abak and then you see the kind of bridge that we put on top of that ravine and that river, and that stopped the killings of people and all that. One of my permanent secretaries, the child ran into a truck that was parked behind the old Abak bridge. And then you look at the quality of that bridge, that for 500, 600 years, no shaking. then you now ask, why should somebody invest so much money to do this kind of thing? It's out of love. I was building Akwa Ibom for the future. I wasn't building Akwa Ibom for today. And that is the reason why we had this kind of vision. So I applaud him for what he has said, and I assure you that the man is entirely right.
Now, before we let you go, distinguished Senator, we want to ask you, is there any problem in PDP, especially because there is this, it seems to be faction, talking about Ahmed Gulak and the second.
No, there is no problem in PDP. It's a struggle for the Northeast people to complete their tenure of chairmanship, and that is why Gulak did what he did, and the rest of them, and we are going to resolve the issues.
Now, Akwa United takes on Ayimba today by 7 p.m.
I will be there.
The Nest of Champions.
I'll be there live. Be there live, and it's going to be shown live on DSTV in the Nest of Champions. And this is it. International match is being played in Akwa Ibom State, in the best international stadium in Africa, and the best state in the whole of Nigeria, applauded by all. But do people know what they have? Are Akwa Ibom people happy? Would they stop writing petitions, frivolous petitions? Would they stop this idea of looking for a way to put handcuff on the hand of their former governor, despite all he did? Would they stop inviting security agencies to break into houses, searching for millions that do not exist? And the question, I leave that to them. But I thank Nigerians for the opportunity given to me to serve, and I thank my people for standing by me. I thank Akwa Ibom people for their prayers. On the 1st of September, I had a major accident. I could have died, but God saved me for Akwa Ibom, and I will continue to save my people, save my family, and save my country.
I will continue to save my people, my family, and the nation. Those are the words of Chief Dr. Godswill Akpabio, the Senate Minority Leader of the 8th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course the immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State. Senator, I want to say a very big thank you for coming on the program for the love of Nigeria, and always willing to support this program at all times.
Thank you to Atlantic FM. Thank you.
Now, before we have to acknowledge at this point in time, very importantly, our very own, the person who at all times in AKBC makes the For the Love of Nigeria program to go and make sure the activities of the National Assembly is shown. We are talking about Helen Achibong, who is a director in AKBC television, and of course the producer of this program, Nyekan Dofia, who is always at his tool, producing, doing the best in the studio, and of course Nse Emmanuel, the studio manager, the executive producer, engineer Kirete Ekaite, and for you out there, people, those who call in to the program, and of course those who never had opportunity to call in, we enjoin you to keep listening and watching.